Meanwhile, and this is for you, Caleb, the US stock market has reached record highs today, with the Nasdaq crossing 9,000 points for the first time ever. The proof is in the pudding on the scoreboard, Caleb.
Of course it is. I mean, everyone, when Trump came to power, well, not everyone, but a lot of people lampooned him and said he was going to be terrible, wouldn't have a clue what he was doing as president. But the numbers speak for themselves. Economically, the US is booming at the same time as our country is not necessarily in decline, but not really going anywhere fast.
Yeah.
Jobs are through the roof. I mean, you cannot argue with the numbers. Trump knows what he is doing. Yeah. And the fact he's running a reasonably steady ship at the same time that everyone's claiming that he has absolutely no idea, I think speaks volumes about where the Democrats are and the fact that they're not going to win the 2020 election.
Yeah, and there he was taking on China over trade, and everyone was saying, oh, this is a death warrant for the United States economy, and now they break 9,000 points today. He was creating a situation where he could solve a problem that has long dogged the United States and be seen to be solving it at the same time for the sake of the strength of the economy.
Absolutely. I mean, he is a businessman. He understands business. He understands how to make money and how economics works probably better than a lot of people in politics. And he, despite all the naysayers, just went ahead and did what he said he was going to do, which is very uncommon for politicians these days. But he has conviction of his word, and it's worked. Yeah.
Well, anyway, Home Alone 2, I think, was on DVD, so everyone will still have Trump on DVD. Now, to something that might shock you, or actually it probably won't, it's been revealed today that Sydney pays more for water and gas than Singapore. Singapore, by the way, has no natural resources. The sky-high prices have been blamed on red tape and over-regulation. I think there might be a bit more to the reasons for all of this. But when you think of it that way, Christy, we're a natural resource-rich country, but what a joke we've become.
We are a natural resource-rich country, but one thing we are not, like Singapore is an island state with one government. And unfortunately, in Australia, we have state governments who are able to make their own laws and regulations on who's allowed to explore mineral resources and dig them out of the ground. And we, of course, know there's a huge cross purposes between environmental protection authorities and state and federal departments who authorises various exploration and mine permits. And of course, we're not allowed to drill for gas. There's a gas moratorium in Victoria and New South Wales, who have some of the highest reserves of gas. Here in Western Australia, where I am, there's huge shale gas reserves sitting under Geraldton and Dongara, the basin in the northwest of the state. That's taken a long time to get permit authorisation as well. So unfortunately, because we have a federation which does some great things and sometimes it does some not great things, our natural resources are not there to be taken advantage of from a consumer level. Yeah,
I take what you're saying as one of the main causes of the differential between these prices. But can I also add another small factoid for you, Caleb? Singapore generates 3% of power from renewables. There's a contrast.
Indeed it is. And going back to Christy's point, we also have a fracking ban in South Australia, and I believe, I don't know whether it's still the case, but we used to have the unenviable position of having some of the highest electricity prices in the world. I believe the most expensive in the world. And of course, at the same time, we had the highest mix of renewables in this country, because the government has subsidised renewables to the point where it's no longer economically viable for a lot of people to run, or businesses, to run coal-fired power plants, etc. So we've created basically a false economy of renewables, which are still very expensive to run, and that cost gets passed on to the consumer. If you rush into renewables before it is a cheap, viable form of energy, then of course we are going to be the ones to pay for it.